Hi guys, how are you? So nice to connect to you. My name is Laura. This is Pleiadian Healer, and welcome to a new video. All right, so today we're going to talk about a few things. It's just the most recent insight that I got, and I journeyed a little bit into the far off lands. I just did a journey to read on a few things, let's put it that way. And I'm not really sure what to name this video, but we're going to have some insights on how we came here to Earth and about the fellow people that we interact with perhaps on a daily basis and a few other things. So what I saw very clearly is basically, the idea that a lot of people are under, I don't want to call it mind control program, but under the assumption that they volunteered to come here to Earth because of their vibration being on the same level as the Earth, because of the frequency matching. I don't know, you have like a million reasons that people come up with that, yes, I volunteered to be here on Earth, and absolutely I did it out of my free will and all of those things, and no way in hell was I tricked to come here, or did someone convince me to come here, all those things. So, I've already been saying for the past 6 months, 7 months, 8 months, whatever, yes, it is very possible that we were tricked to come here. It is very possible that we were deceived to come here as well. But it was really hard to read on it and also on the reason. And it was really hard to get much of an answer. So I really dug into this with the latest insight that I received. And, we were lured here. We were kind of tricked to come here for sure. And it was more like a alluring deception, if that makes sense. So it was almost like a drug was kind of alluring us to come here. And the way they did it was actually, I guess, in a beautiful way, whatever you want to call it, but nonetheless, it was still a deception, and it was still for us to be deceived to come here. So almost like a mirror effect, almost, you look into a mirror, when you hold a mirror towards something, like let's just say I have a mirror right here and it's pointed towards a certain angle. So it's kind of pointed towards the wallpaper or a picture or whatever. You only see a certain angle in that mirror, right? You don't really see the full picture in that mirror. Now, some people can hold a mirror up into their face and then you see a certain angle, but then you don't really see this necessarily. You don't really see the back of your head. You don't, you need like more than one mirror to really get into all these different angles and to really understand the subject matter and your own body, or just the topic from all these different varieties and angles too. And that's kind of how I see it with this entire topic as well. So one angle is absolutely, I volunteered to come here. Absolutely. My vibration was matching Earth, and that's why I'm here. Those are just different angles. But I think to get a fuller picture of it, you kind of got to get rid of that mirror and just see it for what it is. Or you have to get like at least 10 different mirrors and kind of look at yourself from all these different angles, if that makes sense. So what I saw in this mirror reflection was, why wouldn't you want to come to Earth? It is so beautiful. It is so stunning. It is so gorgeous. Of course you want to come here. It's beautiful. And I do have to say, out of all the star systems and planets and other things around us that I have tapped into, I have tapped into the Arcturian energy. I have tapped into Mintaka. I have tapped into some stars of Orion. I have tapped into Sirius A and B, Pleiades, like all of those different star systems, Lyra, Andromeda, all of that. Out of all of those stars, and I know there are millions, gazillions, billions out there, and there are many that aren't even discovered, that humans can't even really comprehend, because it's not just one universe, it's like multiple universes and all of that. But out of the ones that I've tapped into so far, Earth has the most variety in the density of what it has right now. Meaning you don't just have you know, the desert. You don't just have the rainforest. You don't just have ice and the Arctic cold. You don't just have the heat of the tropical weather and all of that, but you have all of that combined in this planet, and probably so much more too. So if you want to visit the rainforest, if you want to visit the desert, if you want to visit the ocean, you can do all of that here on Earth. So Earth has so much variety, which I seldom seen anywhere else. You know, when I tap into the Orioner energy, I see a lot of Amazonian rainforest type of vibes, maybe ocean, but not so much the desert. When you tap into that Martian energy, it's all about the deserts. And yes, Mars, I guess, used to resemble Earth. We're not really sure. But when I tap into the Andromedan energy, it resembles more like a little fire pit. It could possibly have some nature. The Pleiades, very different. You know, so Earth is that one planet that has all of that combined, where you could just imagine, and even other things you can't really imagine. And, you know, having been to so many different places here on Earth itself, not just on other star systems and planets, whatever you want to call it, but having been to so many different places here, yeah, at this point, I think I almost did travel to 50 countries, a little bit less than 50, so 40 plus countries. And yes, I had a goal of making it to like 100 countries and all of those things, but I didn't want it to turn into a chore. So I kind of was just like, you know, I'm just going to visit whatever I can in this lifetime. We're at a certain age until I can't anymore. And I'm just going to be grateful for the things that I see and for the places I've seen and all the experience I've had so far. So just another thing, because I know some people are really into world traveling. Maybe not you guys, but you know, a lot of people that I follow are really into, okay, country number 100, country number 150, you only have like 30 countries left and all of that. And I'm like, I don't want it to turn into a chore, because sometimes, for example, like Mexico, I visited that country 3 times already. Sometimes you have to visit a country 10 times to really get the full gist of it. That's how beautiful a country can be, right? So having visited so many different places already, and having seen a lot in the US, a lot in Europe, and, you know, a few other places too, I can really tell you it is beautiful. And Earth gets actually way more beautiful the further away from a civilization you are. Meaning the further away you are from towers, you know, like the cell phone type of towers, the further away you are from cities, the further away you are from any type of civilization, like the more you're into nature, the more real, pure, and beautiful Earth actually feels. And that must have been how Earth was probably a few hundred years ago, thousands of years ago, and all of that, you know, before the technology took over and the industrialization and all of that. So Earth is very beautiful. And some people were talking about Earth feels dead, or Earth doesn't feel real. I feel like I'm walking on a simulation. I feel like when I go into the park, it's not the nature that I used to know of. And sometimes I do feel that way, especially in the city that I am right now. Some parks don't feel like I'm actually in the real world. I literally feel like something did pass away and it's dead in a certain part somehow. You know, it doesn't feel like I'm actually in nature. But, you know, then again, I went to other remote parts over this past half a year or so that were far removed from technology. And I'm like, this feels so real. And nature is alive and Earth is alive. I can literally feel it while I'm here. So I do think it has a lot to do with how close you are to a civilization and how much technology is around that place for it to feel more real than other spots do. I think it also has to do probably with a few other things, but you know, that's just what I have to say to that. So Earth is one of the most beautiful places to be in this galaxy, in the universe, possibly in all universes combined. I'm not really sure, but it is definitely something very precious because it combines a lot of different landscapes, a lot of different climates, and a lot of different things, possibly Earth center points. And, you know, some people talk about vortices, vortexes, all of that. So it just has a lot of amazing things on here for sure. And how were we tricked to come to Earth? Whoever is in charge, I'm just going to say they could be AI technology, could be the controllers, could be a higher consciousness that kind of just dragged us here. But they convinced us to come here because it was alluring. You know, it's kind of like a dance almost. It was like, yes, don't you want to go on a vacation? I literally saw it like we were all just here to be here on a vacation, and we got lost in it all. So they told us, the higher consciousness, whoever's in charge told us, don't you want to be in, let's just say Hawaii, don't you want to be in Hawaii? Don't you want to go surfing? Don't you want to visit the desert? Don't you want to do? Don't you want to have fun? And it's almost like a dance, you know, like, you know, when you're on a vacation and you go out and you dance and you have a good time, you know, it's kind of like you're not your true, well, you are your true self actually, but you're not your usual self that's stressed out because they have to go to work or they have to go to the grocery store, all of those things. It's kind of like, wow, I landed here and now I have to discover where to get my groceries from, how to live my life, where to get, you know, the booze, if that's what you're into, where to have a good time, where's the best beach, all of that. And that's literally what it felt like when we landed here. So they told us, don't you want to be on beautiful Earth? Look how pretty it is. It has flowers, it has insects, it has animals, it has all of those things. Earth is so beautiful. Why would you not want to go here? And we were like, you know, our souls were like, oh, absolutely, I want to take a vacation there. Absolutely, I just want to go there. Why would I not want to go there? So they were webbing us in kind of like a net, like, yes, come here, come here, come here, come to this, come here. Earth is beautiful. You absolutely want to be here. You don't want to miss this. And we saw it, we were like, you know, already dancing and being like, yes, I'm so looking forward to Earth. I can't wait to do my vacation there. But for a lot of souls, it was an in and out. It was supposed to be an in and out. It was supposed to be a quick mission, a quick vacation, maybe 2 weeks, maybe extended for another 2 weeks, but it was not supposed to last the amount of years that it lasted, the amount of reincarnations that it lasted. So we were outside of Earth. And some people say Earth is not real. It's just a plane of existence. It's not, the globe itself is actually not real. We're actually not on Earth. We are on assimilation, all the things. I didn't really see it that way at all. Because I was asking about that. I was like, am I on the moon? Am I on Mars? Am I somewhere entirely different, like outside somewhere? You know, kind of like in the movie The Matrix, where they kind of plug things in and you're in assimilation. I didn't see it that way at all. I'm actually getting, I am on Earth, whatever that means. Maybe it doesn't mean the planet Earth. Maybe it just means a reality or whatever, but I did not get that I was anywhere else. Now, it could possibly be that other souls, other people are somewhere else, and they're having that reality projected to them like a projector screen. And so we're all working together in this simulated reality. But I got, for me, myself, I'm actually here. And I saw myself coming here very clearly too, because I saw how they allured and tricked me into it. And not just me, but I was in a soul group. So I don't even know how large that soul group was, but I have a feeling, you know, I literally saw it like in a Star Wars movie, you know, like Princess Leia and Han Solo and Luke Skywalker, all of that, you know, they were only like 5, 7 people, maybe. I saw it kind of like a group of like that, like a very small group. And I think that group is my core soul group somehow. Now, it doesn't mean, you know, especially communicating with you guys, communicating with, for example, my family, communicating with people around me, it doesn't mean they're not part of my soul group. It just means that core soul group of maybe up to 10 people, because I really did not see it as a whole lot of people at all. Maybe more were on the ship that we came from, because I kind of did see it. I literally, honestly, you guys, I'm not like making things up or whatever. It might seem that way. It might seem a little bit out there in this video, but I literally saw it like a Star Wars episode where, you know, I was in style of Princess Leia, you know, in a group of other souls. And Our mission was to get in and out of Earth quickly, to complete our mission, and to get out. So there are a few things that happened. We were tricked into coming here. We were allured into coming here. We were like, yeah, why would you not want a vacation? That's literally what I got. Why would you not want a vacation on Earth? So me being addicted to basically being almost like something like a travel junkie, I think has a lot to do with the fact that I'm slowly remembering, my soul is slowly remembering that I came here and it was only supposed to be a vacation. It was only supposed to be a quick in and out. I came here with that soul group of maybe 5, 7, 10, 15. I don't even think it was 15, but like a very small group of souls. And we were all together. And, you know, some of them I recognize right now. I know I've met them, and I can feel that in my heart and my soul. I know they are part of that core soul group. So these are people that I met more face to face, I have to say, rather than online. But I know we go way back. We go way back from this lifetime. We go way back thousands of years ago. We go way back to the beginning origin of things. So I can feel that. I was always able to feel that. And other people around me were also sometimes able to feel that. They were able to pick up on that. Oh, you have this strong soul connection to this person. And it's going to be really hard to let that person go or forget about that person. So I call that my core soul group. It was basically like a Star Wars mission. And I remember I did have more of a female energy, if you can even say gender was a thing outside of Earth, but I had more of a female energy. And I remember putting a hood over me so that no one would recognize me here, meaning I was trying to, I guess, put something over my soul, kind of hide my soul or whatever, so that they or whatever consciousness was in charge wouldn't recognize me and wouldn't be able to track me really. So whether or not they're able to track me now and they recognize me from lifetime to lifetime is another thing. I'm actually not, after seeing that and seeing how I literally put a hood over like my face, like my soul, and then I came to Earth, I was like, maybe they don't know who I am, or maybe it took them a really hard time to catch up to who I was really. And, you know, during this entire experience, the attacks on my sacral chakra were intense. And I already talk about that in other videos where they really tried to get to our sacral chakras, the more we're getting to the truth. The further we're digging into the truth, the more I feel an attack here in my sacral and root chakra area. I'm just saying chakra because that's kind of the places where they are. You know, some people have their chakras removed and everything. I think even having chakras removed, you would still feel something in that area because the attacks are like really targeted towards the womb area. At least they have been with me over the past year or so already, that I've been really digging into these kind of things. And now I recognize that as such too. So I know I was very close to discovering the truth, and I was very close to the truth as well. And so me and my little soul group of people, it was basically like a Star Wars episode. We all looked very different, you know, like maybe even like that, you know, teddy bear type of creature. And then we had, I don't even know if we had a robot. I don't think we did, but we definitely looked all very different. So there are definitely appearances that you have outside of Earth that you can reincarnate in a physical body somehow and appear like literally, I literally think these Star Wars movies are based on not fiction, but on a true story. After seeing how we were kind of in those different bodies too. And so it was our soul group that was lured here. And I do think that happens with almost everyone, by the way, not just me, not just a minority of people, but I can tell you how I was lured here. And then I can probably tell you that you were lured here the same way, because if it happened to me, it happened to almost everyone. Maybe there's a very small percentage of people, like 0.00001%, that really did volunteer to be here, but I think the majority of people did not. And we were tricked here because they were basically holding the mirror up to us, but they were only showing us one aspect of Earth. So they're showing the mirror to us and they're like, don't you wanna be on beautiful Earth? Don't you wanna be in Hawaii? Don't you wanna swim in the ocean? don't you want to see what flowers really look like? I remember flowers was something that I really wanted to see. So maybe you don't really have flowers outside of Earth, is what I'm getting. Maybe flowers is something very precious to Earth. Don't you want to see all of the structures, insects, animals that we have on Earth? Yes, you do? All right, your vacation is booked. You are leaving then and then and then. That's basically how it went. You know, not necessarily that way, but the mirror was shown to us and the flowers were shown to us, to me specifically. And we all got lost in it. We all got lost in this reincarnation cycle. We separated, we split up, like our core soul groups split up so many times throughout these millions of lifetimes that we've had. And I don't know who said it or where I got that from, but someone said a reincarnation cycle here is actually 1 billion years. I got that same number. And I remember the pain that I felt when I knew that I would have to leave someone behind for 1 billion years because they wanted to go to Earth without me. And I was like, I can't, no, 1 billion years is too long. So even when you are outside of the construct of time and space and all of that, even if you are outside of the matrix and you're almost a part of source again, even then, 1 billion years seems like too long of an eternity to bear. You know, sometimes 10 minutes can seem like an hour. Sometimes 10 minutes can seem like a second. Sometimes 10 minutes are like nothing. Sometimes 10 years are like a blink of an eye. But 1 billion Earth years, even outside of Earth, and even if you are not incarnated in any body, and even if you are a soul, even then, 1 billion years is too long. That's how long it is. And it's very hard to understand how long it is. And for me, I got a feeling that I had such heart pain when I thought about the fact that I would be separated from this other soul for 1 billion years and that they would be on Earth for 1 billion years. And only then maybe I would have the chance to see them if they were able to make it out, that I just decided I'm going to come here no matter what. So it was a mix of things where our soul group was tricked into coming here because of the vacation thing and because of another significant soul deciding they wanted to be here, and me deciding I did not want that separation of 1 billion years. I would said, even if we would be separated here on Earth, we wouldn't even be reincarnated in the same lifetime. We would be on different parts of the world, all of that. But at least we would still be on the same planet or in the same plane of existence somehow, that we could still kind of feel each other. You know, that still seemed like a better deal to me than waiting outside of the matrix for 1 billion years or longer. So the thought of 1 billion years really gave me a huge heartache, and I was almost not even able to breathe. I had to do like a breathing exercise. I was almost panicking and an anxiety attack, not just because of that, but just overall the world itself. You know, a lot of tears did come up during the specific journey where the world is crying right now. There's a lot of pain right now in the world because of the disease that's, well, the disease that's going on, because of people's lives having been destroyed or having to be rebuilt from scratch right now, all of those things. There's a lot of that pain going on that I picked up on. But I mean, there were a lot of tears and there were a lot of breathing exercises that I had to do just to calm me down, meaning half of the world is basically in a panic attack or an anxiety attack right now with what's currently going on. So this was a tale on how we were tricked into coming into Earth. And, you know, I did see myself. So we were hiding. It was like a small group of us, you know, basically in whatever ship or however we came here. Cause I do think we had like a little, I don't want to say UFO, but you know, so we had something, we had some weird, we kind of did come here somehow in a spaceship or whatever. That could be figuratively too, you know, that the last reincarnation really was on the Alpha Centaurus, and then we kind of just came here in our thing, and then we projected our souls here, and then we were born in physical bodies. Like all of that can be more of a projection and more of an imagery for me. But we came here, and the original intent wasn't a billion years, by the way. But I got outside of the matrix already that it would be a billion years until I would see this person or this soul again. And that didn't sit well with me at all. So our original intent when we did all come together was, okay, it's just going to be a quick mission, a quick in and out, and we'll go back to where we came before that. We don't have to stay here forever. It's just going to be a timeout, a nice vacation. We're going to enjoy the flowers, like smell the roses, and that's going to be it. And that has turned probably into a billion-year-long cycle or more, meaning that's how we got trapped here. And while we were trapped here, we completely lost ourselves. You know, all the sins that they talk about, like people slaughtering others, the jealousy, the envy, I do feel we just get trapped in that. And it is because of the visitors, you know, the other aliens that I already discussed in my YouTube live. So the visitor aliens and all of that, because they are just really distracting us from the beauty of Earth and from the beauty of our mission. But we like as souls, we just got trapped here. We got trapped in jealousy and envy. We were like literally, we were even attacking each other in previous lifetimes where one person, you know, kind of murdered another one of our own soul group. You know, this is like thousands of years ago, maybe even millions of years ago. And then we just got trapped in that and trapped in our ego. Now, ego's not a bad thing, but in this case, I really saw it as we got trapped in our ego and, you know, wanting to be, you know, people say, not the gods, or like giants, gods, like all of these creatures that walked around, like wanting to be that or embodying that somehow. And, you know, I do think God is just like another, there are so many gods out there. So I do think it's just another like comparison, or it's just another euphemism or whatever for the souls that were here originally in that sense, or the souls that kind of like came here on an original purpose or mission somehow. So you just kind of get trapped in the ego and you get trapped in all of that. And you get trapped, you know, when you're, let's call it old soul, as opposed to the newer souls, you just kind of get trapped in that. And you just lose yourself over and over again over these so many incarnations that you had. You just lose track of your pure mission. So you kind of have to look at it this way before it gets too confusing. We were tricked here. Sure, you don't have to stay a billion years. You can leave after 2 weeks. Oh, great. We want to smell the flowers. We want to go to the ocean, all of that. Boom, now we're here. And 2 weeks is possibly only one incarnation, by the way. Now we're here. And the veil came down. We don't know who we are. Oh, I recognize you on a soul level, but I don't recognize you as my brother. I recognize you as someone I want to date, for example. Oh, I recognize you on a soul level, but you actually killed him off in a previous lifetime, and that's why I'm still holding a grudge against you. But I don't know why, because in this lifetime, I don't remember any of this. So I'm resentful. Something like that, okay? So, wham, the veil came down. We had our beautiful bodies. I do think we had beautiful bodies back then too. And I mean, you know, the human body in and of itself can be quite beautiful compared to like an alien body, at least. So people are talking about light bodies and all of that. I do think our soul carries over into our physical body for sure. You know, when people just pass away and die, their skin is gray, is like wax. It's not the same as when a soul is actually in their body, right? Yeah, it has to do with you not taking any breaths and you don't looking good and all of that. I mean, you see that when you're very sick too, that your entire skin color, all of that changes. But I do think a lot of like what gives our body life is our actual soul in it. Let's put it that way. Which, you know, people talk about the aura and the energy field, which is why some people have more of an energy field and radiate more than other people do, have more of a glow around them, those kind of things. So, wham, We forgot about who we were. We forgot we were actually from there. We forgot that we were looking onto Earth from the outside and that this was just supposed to be a quick mission. And that's how they got us. They trapped us here. They tricked us into coming here, and they literally were able to trap us here because of the, forgetting, because of us, whatever, call it mind wiping, whatever, because of us forgetting the pure essence of who we are, and for us developing egos and personalities and a different type of consciousness due to that. So we've been stumbling around, forgetting a large part of us for a long time, but there were incarnations where we were closer to our true selves than in other ones. I like to talk about the medieval ages because the medieval ages for me are always so telltale, how people literally forgot who they were, because people in the medieval ages only lived like 20 years, 15 years, 30 years, 60 years, 50 years. The lifespans of the medieval ages were a joke compared to what they were before. Before that, I do think people were able to live more than 100 years, 200 years, possibly even 800 or 900 years. But then as soon as the Dark Ages rolled in, you had the diseases, you had the bad nutrition, you had people just not surviving much, people dying in childbirth, people dying as children, people dying in their 50s and their, all of those things. So we're getting more and more to the lifespans, I guess, that are more natural to us, but we're still a very far way off from that. But then even now, you hear reports about people who turned 120 years old or 110 years old. And that's actually more natural to us than only turning 80 years old or 90 years old. So I do think we are able to turn older than the mainstream makes us believe. And so when we came here, wham, the veil came over us, because I guess that was the condition, but we may have forgotten about that condition, or we didn't read the fine print, or we were like, yeah, that's no problem because our soul is so strong. We'll remember even with that veil. Maybe we thought we would still be able to remember who we were, because we were like, yeah, I don't think this veil is really going to do much to me. I think it's not going to mind wipe me the way I thought. But we underestimated the veil, and we underestimated them being able to actually trick us here and successfully trap us here the way they have so far. So why Earth? And that's always the question that we keep coming back to. Why Earth? What is so special about Earth? In addition to all the things that I already mentioned, I got the feeling, some people are talking about you need something to get out of here. You need a plan, you need a key, you need something to get out of this simulation, this matrix, whatever. I felt very strongly when I got that insight that Earth in and of itself was actually the key out. So Earth somehow was the key out of the other matrices, and it had a lot to do with liberation. And it felt almost like once Earth is liberated, then it's going to have a ripple effect on all the other things around us, like all the other planets and star systems and universes around us and galaxies. And once that liberation is achieved here, we can get out. It's like kind of, you have to go through Earth in order to get out. It's not like we're here by accident at all. It's literally you were tricked here to come here to complete a mission, whatever mission that was. We have to remember what that was. And in order to complete that mission, the mission was most likely had to do with liberating Earth, or it had to do with getting out somehow. And in order to do that, though, we have to go through Earth. We can't really avoid Earth. That's what I got. That's all I can say to that. So yeah, there's definitely a purpose of being here and the reason why we were tricked to be here. They just made it seem like it would be so much easier to achieve the goal that we had than at the end of the day it was. Because even though I do think we were brainwashed and mind wiped on other star systems and planets too, the extent that it happened here was probably even worse than it was on the Pleiades, Arcturus, and all of that as well. And so I remember looking onto Earth from the outside. And, I already told you my thoughts that I think Source or an aspect of Source was converted to AI already due to an experiment going wrong. If it is entire source, I'm not sure, but I definitely saw parts of source being tied up and imprisoned and converted to AI, meaning we can't really go back to that aspect of source, you know, like that higher consciousness where we all come from. So this time I looked from the outside. It felt like almost like a different matrix onto this one, or like even outside of the matrix onto this one. And it actually looked really ugly. So I saw tentacles, you know, kind of like octopus tentacles, but I didn't see the actual octopus body. So literally just like 10, 20, 30 large tentacles. And they were dark purple, bluish. So not white, not black, not any of that color, but they did look kind of like the octopus tentacles look like, except for no body of the actual octopus was there. So maybe Earth was even the octopus body and the tentacles were coming out of it, but I don't really know. Honestly, what I saw was tentacles all around Earth. And I could have decided to just stay there in that reality. Like on a soul level, I knew I can just stay here outside of all that drama, outside of Earth, outside of that reality, and be here surrounded by the tentacles, surrounded by the artificial intelligence, because it felt like artificial intelligence to me somehow. Surrounded by, outside of the matrix, by all these things, and wait a billion years for that soul group or for that, you know, special other part of soul to complete their mission. Or I can literally just decide to go in, you know, bite the bullet, go in, and hope that we get out earlier or that we don't forget too much of us while we're there. And I decided, because of all the heart pain that I felt, that I did not want to leave this aspect behind and go to Earth by themselves. I was like, okay, I'm just going to go with them. And I'm going to risk possibly never emerging from that again. But it felt almost better than it did being surrounded by those tentacles. So now in hindsight, I'm even wondering if Earth is actually really ugly from the outside. You know how the NASA, I don't want to say the name, how they give us all these beautiful pictures of Earth and all of those things, but they all look like a flat disc, very one-sided, like only one aspect of the mirror that I already showed you in my last video. You know, this is just one aspect of Earth. This is the beauty of Earth. But show me a different angle, you'll see the tentacles. You'll actually see that AI is surrounding Earth, and that's going to be very hard to get out of Earth. That's kind of the feeling that I had. So I'm actually wondering if Earth does have a bunch of tentacles around it, and they're coming out of Earth itself, or if it's imprisoned by these tentacles somehow. And it almost even felt like I was getting a breather by being on Earth and not being among that anymore. Because even though it feels very 3D and like a grind and like a trudge and like a trench and trap and all of these things here on Earth, we can actually breathe, right? Or at least we were able to up until recently, until they put the muzzles and everything over our faces. We were actually able to breathe the fresh, clean air before all the air pollution came into play too. We were able to go into the rainforest, into nature, into all of those things. And yeah, it almost felt like I was able to escape a different type of trap and take a break here, like kind of like that vacation feeling that I told you. But for those people who took longer vacations than expected, and you know, I myself am included, that's because that's kind of what happened when I took my 6 months trip. Like all of a sudden 3 months in, it turned into, I don't want to call it a nightmare, but it turned into, I'm not enjoying this trip anymore. I'm not enjoying this vacation. This is more stress than worth it. This is not a vacation anymore to me. I don't want to be on this vacation anymore. So that's literally what it turned into, like Earth, okay? So it felt better. You know, when you're so stressed and it's working 24/7 and stressed and you're like, okay, I'm working. Now I can finally take my vacation. So it felt like that outside of Earth, where it was more stress to stay in those tentacles and in that AI presence than just biting the bullet and jumping into Earth and just hoping for the best possible outcome. I mean, hoping, yes, the vacation is going to turn okay. Yes, I'm going to get a breather. Yes, I'm going to be able to relax at the ocean, those kind of things. So that's kind of what it felt like to me, where the first impressions that I had when landing here, literally landing, meaning on a soul level, my soul was here. And I do very strongly think my soul is on Earth and not elsewhere, by the way. So it felt that my soul needed it. It needed a break, relaxation, and it felt good here. It almost felt like here I could even hide. Here I could take a break from all of that, all the AI around us and all of that. And yeah, it just kind of felt like that in the very beginning. And I'm sure it felt like that for a lot of us, especially the older souls, maybe even the newer souls. And that's kind of how it turned. You know, that's kind of the insight that I got, that a lot of tentacles around Earth, jumping into it, biting the bullet, but then landing here and it literally feeling like that break. Now, like I already told you, at one point the vacation goes sour, especially if you keep overextending it. Like you just want to stay for 3 days. Okay. I mean, it happened to me when I was in Tulum. I only wanted to stay for 3 days. I ended up staying for almost 8 days. And at the end of those 8 days, I was like, I need to get out of here. I need to see something else. Or the same when, you know, when I was traveling for 6 months straight, after 2 months, I was like, okay, I need to either see another aspect of the country that I'm in, or I'm really not going to enjoy this vacation at all anymore. So it's kind of similar to that. You think you're going to stay for 3 days, you like it so much that you're literally like, yeah, instead of going back to what I know, I'm just going to extend it for another week or another 2 weeks. And then lo and behold, a month later, you're like, yeah, it's still pretty. It's still beautiful. But I kind of miss my friends. I miss my old life. I miss the comfort that I had. I actually miss where I'm from. And then 2 more months after that, or 200 more years, or 2 billion more years after that, whatever, you're like, wow, this turned into a nightmare. And I don't even know why I'm still here. Now I have to make a decision to book my flight back or to somehow get out of here. So that's just a comparison, an analogy for Mission Earth and how I think it went sour for a lot of people for sure. And then you realize that the borders are closed, meaning Earth is closed. You can't get out that easily because the reincarnation cycle might very well be a million years, not a million, a billion years, or that it's going to take you all of your soul remembrance to ever get out of here again, and that you actually have to take that original team with you. You have to take those 4 people, those 4 souls, those 10 souls, whoever you came here with you, in order to be strong and powerful together, as opposed to doing it by yourself. So that's kind of what it felt like to me, honestly. And I do think a lot of people just got lost in the vacation aspect of it. Now the older souls are over it. I do think we're over it. We're kind of just like, we're not enjoying this anymore. Every lifetime almost feels like the same, you know, every time. So I'm so close to remembering what I really came here for. And then boom, I die, because current lifespans are 50 years, 60 years, 70 years, 80 years, 90 years. But until you are actually old enough, like maybe in your 20s or 30s or 40s, to actually have the confidence to question your reality and be like, maybe I'm not from here. What is the soul really? What is spirituality really? What is pseudoscience? What is science? What are all these concepts really? Are we being fooled and made fun of 24/7? Until you actually have that consciousness, half of your life is most likely over already. And then you feel you're going to be running out of time and all of that too. Plus, then the other souls have to decide they're going to reincarnate with you at that time as well, and that you're going to cross paths at the time that you need to, all of those things. So it gets very complicated, but it kind of makes sense when you think about it, and all the instances and soul recognitions that you have with people, it makes sense. Now, the old souls have been here for a very long time, and it could have very well been that Earth looked very different a billion years ago than it does now. that we're just jumping through different frequencies and dimensions on Earth, meaning in ancient Atlantis, we could have been in 5D, 7D, 8D, all of that. And then Earth looked more vibrant, but then womb, now after ancient Avalon, we're back in 3D. For the past 1,000 years or so, we've been back in 3D basically. And then in addition to that, you know, you have Christianity throwing you all these traps of the kingdom on earth, or you're going to land in paradise after you die, or, and then you have the new age psyop throwing you things like, we now need to recycle each other up into 5D and all of that, you know, and all of that really does, honestly, both Christianity, religion, and the new age, all of that, what it really does is it tears souls apart. So that those who are so brainwashed that they really do want to go to paradise, they really do want to go to 5D, are being drifted further apart from the souls, from the rest of the souls, which we really need to stay together at this point. It is very crucial that we stay on the same frequency, the same dimension, the same, whatever you want to call it, not necessarily the same mindset, but it's very crucial that we stay together on the same vibrational level that we are on. And I already told you in a different video that, you know, what I read on, depopulation in and of itself actually doesn't exist. Why does it not exist? Because it's just a recycling of souls. And if souls don't want to be here, they're just going to go to another version of Earth or another planet that's similar to here. And they're still going to be used for the agenda that they're used here. You know, for example, on Arcturus, you're used to actually create some metal things for the other beings that I mentioned already. And then, you know, all of those things. So people are afraid about the current prick. And I'll talk about that, I think, in the next video or very, very soon, because I got new, fresher insight on that too. But people are talking about being worried that it's going to depopulate the population. And yeah, sure. Is it going to have some people pass away? Absolutely, sure. But the soul is a consciousness, right? So in that sense, okay, you're going to leave your earthly body behind because of the prick, because of the disease, by the way, that came before the prick. People did lose their lives because of that disease, but I think there's more, I don't want to say more danger to the prick, you know, it's all relative how you look at it. But you know, like people have left because of that, and they're going to leave because of the prick too. I think that's certain for people who are doing the research on the prick and all of that. I mean, you don't have these things happen for no reason, but I'll talk about that in a different video. I know it's a very touchy subject for a lot of you, because a lot of your friends and coworkers and possibly you yourself, I don't know if you watching this video are considering getting it, but you know, if your industry is requiring you to get it and you're not strong enough to push against it, you might very well be considering that, or just going to the black market and getting a fake certificate or something. I know a lot of people are actually considering that. And I would definitely prefer you doing that over actually getting whatever they want to put in your body. But it's just my opinion. Not animating you to do anything here, not animating you to go to the black market and get a fake certificate. That's not what I said at all. So please listen. And so depopulation in and of itself did not exist. Does not exist, and did not exist because your soul cannot be depopulated. Your soul consciousness is still going to float around somewhere else. Now, whether or not you're going to have so much consciousness in your soul that you're going to be aware not to go through that tunnel of light and be reincarnated here again, or that you're actually going to float somewhere else and want to be somewhere else, that's in and of itself another topic, right? But, you know, that's why with the depopulation, with the pricks, and with all of these things, with the 5D ascension trap, which it really is a 5D ascension trap. I have to say that it's a trap the same way Christianity is a trap and all these things are a trap. With all of this, what they're doing is they're tearing the souls apart, when it is of utmost importance right now to stay together and to stay on the same frequency, on the same mind level, on the same mindset. Like, it's more crucial now than it ever was before, possibly ever before.